Most people know Thoth as an Egyptian god, the ibis-headed scribe of the gods, holding a stylus and scroll. But that's just the surface. Behind the myth lies something deeper, a hidden science, a cosmic language, a secret technique that may have once mapped the journey of your soul long before you were born to the ancient Egyptians. Thoth wasn't just a god of writing, he was the architect of order, the one who kept time itself flowing, who calculated the movements of stars, and recorded the laws that govern both heaven and earth. He was said to have invented language, but also magic, astronomy, alchemy, and the system of measuring time. He didn't just watch the stars, he interpreted them. He didn't just count days, he assigned meaning to them. There's a legend that Thoth encoded his deepest wisdom in a series of lost writings, known today as the Emerald Tablets, while the real tablets may never have been physical at all. The ideas in them shaped centuries of mystical thought. These texts speak of as above, so below that the heavens and earth are not separate, but reflections. To understand one, you must understand the other. Thoth didn't just record the stars, he taught that the soul's evolution was guided by them. Imagine this, before your soul took form, it passed through certain stargates, celestial checkpoints, absorbing traits, lessons, and destinies. This idea isn't just poetic, it's embedded in the oldest spiritual Cosmo, Logies. Thoth was said to know the measurements of the stars and the geometry of the soul, and this leads us to Babylon. While Egypt honored Thoth, Babylon developed something equally astonishing, the first known star maps. We're talking about 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, long before telescopes, long before modern astrology. Babylonian priests tracked planets, eclipses, and the exact timing of celestial events with precision that still stuns modern scholars. But they weren't just doing this for science. They believed the heavens were a divine script, revealing messages from the gods and from the soul's own higher purpose. These weren't horoscopes. They were encoded blueprints of fate. Babylonians recorded the positions of stars during a person's birth, at coronations, or before major events, because they believed that everything unfolded according to a larger, cosmic pattern. And here's where it gets interesting. Some scholars believe there was philosophical cross-pollination between Egyptian mysticism and Babylonian astronomy, especially through shared trade routes and temple exchanges. In other words, Thoth's spiritual technology may have laid the metaphysical foundation for Babylon's astronomical maps. Both cultures believed that life followed celestial law, not just physical law, but spiritual trajectories written into the stars. And they each preserved this knowledge in their own way. Egypt through myth, metaphor, and sacred geometry. Babylon through observation, record-keeping, and celestial calculations. Put them together, and you get something extraordinary, a system where the position of stars isn't just a reflection of fate, but a guide for the soul's mission. What if your life isn't random? What if, like the Babylonians believed, your moment of birth aligned your essence with a specific signature in the sky? And what if, like Thoth taught, that alignment didn't just describe your nature, but your sacred task? That's what we'll explore next. Because when we combine the spiritual depth of Egyptian wisdom with the precision of Babylonian astronomy, we begin to see the soul's journey not as linear but as celestially encoded. Asterisk to the Babylonians, the stars weren't decorations, they were messages. They believed the heavens were a living, breathing manuscript, a divine manuscript, where the past, present, and future could all be read. If you knew the language, and their priests, known as Chaldeans, were among the first true celestial linguists. But this wasn't science in the way we think of it today. This was spiritual technology, a bridge between human life and divine design. In the ruins of Babylon, archaeologists have found some of the oldest star maps ever created. These weren't crude guesses. These were careful observations of planetary movements, lunar eclipses, stellar conjunctions, recorded generation after generation. But why? Because the Babylonians believed that every celestial event was an echo, a spiritual tremor that resonated in human life. A solar eclipse wasn't just a shadow. It was a sign. A planetary alignment wasn't just geometry. It was a shift in divine focus. Think about this. In their worldview, to study the stars was to read the will of the gods. And if the gods were writing the story of the world in light, then human destiny was just one sentence in that cosmic story. So, when a child was born, Babylonian astrologers looked to the sky not for personality traits, but for purpose. Your birth moment was like a fingerprint, a soul code tied to the exact arrangement of the heavens. They believed certain star combinations meant a person was destined to be a healer, or a warrior, or a priest, or a messenger between worlds. And this system was mathematically precise, based on a 360 zodiac wheel, divided into 12 sections, a model that would later influence Greek, Roman, Islamic, and Indian astrology. But, again, this wasn't fortune-telling, this was soul technology. In fact, some Babylonian texts suggest a pre-birth journey, a descent of the soul from higher realms through specific planetary gates, where it would absorb certain energies before incarnating. Sound familiar? It's almost identical to what later Hermetic, Gnostic, and even Kabbalistic traditions describe that before birth, the soul travels through a layered cosmos, collecting its tools and limitations for the life ahead. What's astonishing is that Babylonian records don't just reflect astronomy, they mirror metaphysical systems. They believed the stars influenced one's inner moral compass, the timing of key life events, the development of the soul across lifetimes. In other words, the star maps were evolutionary blueprints. And while they didn't use the language of reincarnation the way India or Tibet did, their concept of soul, destiny was strikingly similar. The soul, in this view, wasn't locked into one life. It was ascending, learning, and returning. Lifetime after lifetime, each cycle imprinted by a different celestial arrangement. Each life, a lesson. Each birth, chart, a curriculum. And this is where Babylonian astrology becomes not just a map, but a tool, a spiritual instrument. They believed that by understanding your star map, you could harmonize with it. You could work with fate instead of resisting it. You could live in alignment with the music of the cosmos. This idea would later echo through the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. And once again, that idea leads us back to Thoth, because it was Thoth, or Jehuti, in the older tongue, who was said to have measured the heavens to establish harmony on earth. Didn't just teach laws, he encoded timing, cycle, and geometry into everything, just like the Babylonians did. Thousands of years ago, the Babylonians tracked stars with clay tablets and torches. Today, we carry star charts in our pockets, apps, algorithms, AI scanning the heavens in real time. But something's missing, because what the ancients gave us wasn't just data, it was meaning. They saw the stars as a language, a divine code, a living pattern we were meant to participate in. And perhaps the real reason we're still drawn to astrology, fate, and cosmic timing is because deep down we remember. We remember that there was once a way to live in tune with the cosmos, to navigate life like a vessel on sacred waters, to know when to act, when to rest, when to let go. The ancients believed your soul didn't drop into your body randomly. It was timed perfectly to match a specific moment in the cosmos. That moment, frozen in the stars, is your celestial fingerprint. In astrology today, we call it your natal chart. But to the ancient mind, it was far more than just personality indicators. It was a map of spiritual evolution. It told you what your karmic patterns might be, what divine lessons you came here to learn, what planetary forces you're here to integrate, and how your personal timing fits into collective cosmic cycles. This is the secret Thoth kept, not just the laws of nature, but the timing of the soul in the Hermetic tradition, which traces its roots to Thoth and Egyptian metaphysics. There's a concept called sacred timing. It's the idea that each soul arrives on Earth with a mission encoded in the stars. And unless we remember that code, we wander, we struggle, we repeat. But once we start listening, once we realign with that cosmic rhythm, something changes. We move with the current, not against it. Have you ever felt like something was meant to be? Like signs were guiding you? Like the universe was whispering? That's not wishful thinking. That's resonance. The soul recognizing its path. Synchronicities aren't random. They're activations reminding you that you're still part of the pattern, and that pattern is cosmic. We are not separate from the stars. As Carl Sagan said, we are a way for the universe to know itself. But Thoth might have said it differently. He might have said, you are a way for the soul to remember its path through the cosmos. This is the core of his secret technique. Not just to read the stars, but to become conscious of your alignment with them. In modern astrology, we often stop at traits. I'm a Leo, I'm a Virgo, I'm a moon in Pisces. But the ancients went further. They saw your entire incarnation as a mission of alchemy, turning experience into wisdom, lessons into light. That's why Thoth was called the Lord of Time, not because he controlled the clock, but because he understood when the soul is ready. Timing is everything. And ancient star maps, Babylonian, Egyptian, or Hermetic, weren't just calendars. They were spiritual instruments, calibrated to measure growth, fate, and transformation. Even today, modern transits, progressions, and planetary returns echo the same idea. You are in a dialogue with the cosmos. The question is, are you listening? When we begin to explore our natal chart, not just intellectually, but intuitively, we begin to remember why we came here, what gifts we carry, what shadows we must face, and how our soul is shaped by cosmic design. This is what Thoth preserved. This is what Babylon mapped. And now, this is what we're beginning to remember. The secret isn't hidden anymore. It's written in your sky, in your chart, in your soul. Thoth's technique wasn't a spell. It was a reminder that you are not lost. You are not random. You are a traveler on a cosmic path, and the stars have been guiding you all along. Asterisk somewhere. In your story, you already know this. You've felt it in dreams that echo through lifetimes, in the strange pull of places you've never been, in the numbers that repeat, the signs that appear, the timing that feels too precise to be chance. This isn't fantasy, it's memory, because the soul remembers what the mind forgets. And when you study the stars, not as decoration, but as declarations, you begin to reclaim the original map, the one you helped draw before you were born. The Babylonians charted it. Thoth preserved it, and now it's your turn to read it. Not for control, but for clarity, for alignment, for remembrance. If this spoke to something deep in you, that quiet ancient place that still listens when the stars speak, then maybe it's time to begin. Learn your chart, track the sky, watch for signs. Because Thoth's technique was never really a secret. It was a language, and the universe is still speaking it. The only question is, are you ready to listen?